Hey, what's going on guys? My name is Matthew from WC Tech here, and today we're doing a bit of a different video. We're going to do a setup tour video. Now, if you don't know much about me, I'm currently a university student studying computer science, so I'm currently in my university room, so the setup's not as grand or as nice looking as it would be back at home. But I just want to do a video to show you just what equipment I use, how I've got it set up, how I use it, and just show you where the magic happens, whether that be for productivity, for gaming. I decided I want to do a grand tour just so you know what sort of hardware and what sort of level of tech that I'm into. So I thought it'd be an interesting little video, something different. I've not quite done it before. So I love talking about technology, I love rambling about technology, I love showing technology. So I think it's finally time to show you just what technology I love to actually ramble about. So I think we should just jump straight into the MLC Tech Setup Tour University Edition. So this is where the magic actually happens. Now, I know what you're thinking. From a distance, you know, the desk setup and stuff doesn't look very grand. I know that's the downside of living in the university room. If I could, I would love to change the desk out and get some proper cable management, because this desk is sealed to the wall, as you might be able to tell from behind the monitor. So no tucking in cables, routing cables. So I've got to try and make do with the spaghetti mess that I currently have at the moment. But let's get into what we're actually running. Now, you probably noticed from a glance, whoa, we got a big ultra-wide monitor. Yes, that is like the big daddy of ultra-wide monitors at the moment. It's an LG 38 GL950-B. And this is, in my opinion, one of the best monitors on the market at the moment for ultra-wide gaming. It's an IPS display, 144Hz. And also, it's an IPS with a 1 millisecond response time, which for gaming, that is just fantastic. And overall, 38 inches on an ultra-wide monitor, I think this is a brilliant monitor from LG, and so far, I'm loving it. Peripherals to go with it, I'm currently using the Logitech G513 Carbon with the tactile switches, and the good old trusty G502 mouse. It's a bit funny, I got Logitech peripherals, but then you see here with my mouse mat, it's Razer. Now, I went with Razer because I just like the colour. I thought it was quite a good contrast. The speakers that I'm currently using with this setup are 506 speakers, which you will see here, they're pretty nice. They're not as good as my speakers back at home, which are a pair of Rokit 5 G5s, which the sound of them are incredible compared to these, but I need something that was quite powerful in sound, but also came in a small form factor, and the ambient glow behind them just looks pretty nice. So as we move over, my webcam or streaming camera or general camera, that's just a Logitech G7 over there. I've got it paired using Elgato Camlink. That's what I use for my streams, and sometimes recording some videos. It's super handy just to be able to have a good camera to be able and use it as a webcam directly interfaced with OBS. So that's what I use for my game streams, and also some of my news videos that I sometimes do. Now let's talk about sound quickly. As we're on the topic of sound, I'll talk about the speakers, but what I currently use for microphone is the Rode NT1. Now the Rode NT1, for the price, I think is a solid microphone. Yes, it's not as good as more expensive ones, but for £200, this is an excellent piece of kit. Now it's on a Rode microphone arm. They're pretty solid. Yes, they're more expensive than other cheaper ones, but it's solid, and I just love the mounting mechanism and how easy and simple it is to use. Now, I've got that interfacing with a Native Instruments Complete Audio 6. Now, there is a new revision of this audio interface card, but for what I need, it does everything I need. It's got the MIDI inputs. I sometimes do a bit of music production. It's got the XLR inputs with a 48 phantom power, and also it also has all the additional, sound outputs as well, which when I'm back at home using my Rokit speaker setup, I take advantage of all the ports, so it comes in super handy. But in my university room, not so much, because my current speakers are interfacing via USB. Now let's talk about where all the processing magic actually happens, and that is in what's behind the microphone, Baby Yoda. Yes, I know. The processing, it's not done by Baby Yoda, though. If we could take advantage of the force acceleration in After Effects and Photoshop, that would be very nice. But Yoda, you're just going to be sat to the side for now, and we're going to talk about the monster of a gaming PC that I probably spent too much money in building, but I'm a techie, I love the top of the end stuff, so it's sort of justified in my mind. But let's just talk about the case quickly. I've used this case for many years now. It's stuck with me since 2017. It's a Fractal Design R6. Now, it's the original R6, and I like a bit more of an open space. As I mainly run SSD and M.2 storage, I didn't really need much space for drives to begin with. But you're probably looking at this setup and thinking, what's that there? Yes, my friends, that is an NVIDIA RTX 3090. I feel so lucky to be able to, one, afford this card, and also to have been able to get it at retail as well. I would never pay a scalper close to £2,000 for this card. I would never encourage that sort of behaviour, and I would encourage you to also not engage in that sort of practice as well. But I feel lucky not only to be in the position to be able to buy one, but also to have been in the position to be able to get one at retail. 3090 is currently paired with an Intel 10900K. Yes, I know, a bit of buyer's remorse. I bought my processor last May. I wish I held on for a little bit longer and waited for the Ryzen 5000 series, because yes, IPC performance and game performance is better on that chip, so a little bit of buyer's remorse, but at the time this was the granddaddy of gaming CPUs. If I was building a computer now, I would have tried to get a Ryzen 9 5900 or 5950X, but you know, I bought what I did at the time, and do I regret it? Not really, because it's brilliant at what I needed to do. It's still one of the top of the line gaming CPUs you can buy, even though AMD's has overthrown it as the king, but still very solid performance, and in productivity work applications it's still solid. Having 10 cores and 20 threads, yes, it's not as good as having 12 or 16 over on the Ryzen 5000, but for what I need it does the job. And paired with some lovely Corsair Vengeance RAM, I love the RGB on this system. But in terms of feature set, ASUS motherboards have always been solid, and the overclocking on this motherboard also very solid as well. I'm able to get 5.3 GHz out of this thing, so I'm super happy with this board. It's got all the I/O I need, and yeah. And then the power supply that I'm using under there is a Seasonic 850 Platinum. I can't remember the current, I think it's a Prime or something, but yeah, Seasonic, very solid power supply, it's very efficient. What more could you want? And then to cool my i9 is a Corsair H150i, a 280mm rad. I only bought this radiator for the looks. Would I have gone with a Noctua air cooler? Absolutely. That, if I wanted pure performance and more sound optimization, I would have gone with an air cooler, but I wanted it to look nice as well. And with a liquid cooler, especially 280, you get good cooling performance, in fact very good cooling performance, but it makes the system look a whole lot nicer. And you might be able to see along the side, you see I've got RGB strips along the side and top. That's also a Corsair power strip unit, so I'm able to control motherboard lighting, RAM lighting, CPU cooler lighting and case lighting all within the Corsair Q software, which it's super easy not having to muddle around with different pieces of software, so that's why I went Corsair. So there you have it, guys. This is the MLC Tech Gaming Production Uni Room setup. It's not as grand as I would like it to be if I was back at home, but I will do an update when I do return with all this stuff back to my home setup for the Easter and summer months. But for now, this is my setup, and quite frankly, I love my little setup. It's nice and cozy, and it does everything that I need it to do. So there we have it, guys. That is the conclusion to my little tour setup of 2021 in my university room. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I hope it gave you some good insight into just what tech I like using, what sort of setup of equipment I'm dealing with in my little playpen, as I like to call it, you know, the gaming productivity setup. But I hope you enjoyed today's video and found it interesting looking at what sort of technology that I use in my setup and how you can sort of see how my workflow works as well. But if you enjoyed today's video, make sure to give it a thumbs up or a dislike if you dislike it for some reason. I know sometimes not everyone likes the videos I produce, so it's okay if you didn't like it for some reason. But do comment down below your thoughts and opinions on the setup, how I could improve in the future, or anything you want to talk about in the tech space in general. Anyway guys, I'm going to get on out, so I hope you enjoyed today's video. Subscribe to see more content like this in the future, and I'll hopefully catch you on another episode of MLC Tech.